So the day before I had bananas, dates, a melon, date snack balls, a can of beetroot and sweet potatoes for dinner. Had almost 3 hours of sleep, which I mentioned in the last video. Up at 11:30, out the door, starting the Garmin at 12:01. Set off, had one toilet stop between home and just past Ruakaka. And that was the first proper stop off the bike. It was good to have a stretch out at that stage. It was 6 hours 55 in then, and yeah, it was just into the daylight, which was nice. Got off, went to the toilet again, as mentioned, topped up the water bottles, had 3 water bottles, 1 on the aero bars, 2 on the normal positions on the bike. Then up to Whangarei, turned left at Whangarei, didn't stop in Whangarei because I didn't need to, didn't want to have any unnecessary stops, didn't want to have too much elapsed time. I wanted to spend as much time moving and pointing in the direction of home that I could. Turning left to Dargaville, there was some hills, not crazy hills, but my legs were starting to tire at that stage, and yeah, that was probably the worst patch, from about 180 to 230-ish. Just wasn't loving it. And then getting closer to Dargaville, could see the buildings and the town getting closer, and that was a welcome sight. Stopped again at Dargaville, topped up the water bottles again, had some Cliff Bars at that stage. Let a couple of people know where I was, just to make sure that they knew I was still alive and no dramas were happening. Then heading south towards home, basically. That was about probably the furthest that I was going to be away from home, and knowing that I was getting closer to home was an awesome feeling. Leaving Dargaville was very long and straight roads and very flat, but that was welcomed at that stage. It was a lot easier than riding hills. Turning left towards the Bryn Derwins, I met up with my dad. He brought me some sweet potatoes and took some of the things that I didn't want to carry back with him, so that was helpful. And then yeah, he took off on his motorbike and I carried on back to State Highway 1, heading south on State Highway 1. Roads weren't too crazy, drivers were all really good up until this stage, and were the whole ride actually, all the truckies and everyone else in the dark. No problems at all, it was awesome. Better out on the highway, I reckon, than what I usually encounter in the city. But anyway, that's not what this is about today. Back to Welsford for the second time. At that stage, again, fill up the water bottles, had a random chat with a stranger, because obviously most people were at a gas station to get gas, and I was there to use their tap to get free water. After that, back down State Highway 16, and I was thinking to myself, this is a mistake, because I was 300 and something k's in at that stage, and there's lots of hills out there. Normally when my legs are fresh, it's no big deal, but at that stage, life was tough. I did contemplate walking too, but I thought, nah, it's going to take so long if I do that, and then if I do that, I can't say that I rode the whole way. So I didn't. I just kept going, seated, standing, whatever, to get up the hill, just slow and steady. And yeah, lots of bumps out that way. It was tough. After the last big hill, down into Copper, things were better. I knew that it was flattening out. I knew that there wasn't any significant hills after that stage. Got to Kumu, stopped at the Kumu, grabbed 2 vegan pies, 2 chana masala. That was nice. I had food in my backpack, but I didn't want to eat sweet potatoes at that stage. You just want what you want, and you understand if you've ever done anything like this. I jumped off the bike too to get them, had a walk around. My back was real sore at that stage, and everything was, yeah, feet were sore, everything was getting pretty sore. Then from there, from west, I headed towards the city. I had it all planned out where I needed to go in order to rack up 500, and getting close to the city, again, not the best kind of thoughts in my head. I was just like, oh, what am I doing? You know, I could just go home now because I was close to home, and why do I need to go and get another 50? But I kept pressing on. I thought, I'm so close, why would you pull the pin at this stage? And actually, before even starting the ride, I thought, if I can get to 400, then I can get to 500. So at that stage I was at 400, and I thought, we'll just keep going. And the hardest part, I think, was looking down at my Garmin at one stage around 3, knowing that I had 9 hours to go. And that was like, whoa, it's a long way to go. But yeah, so getting close to the city wasn't too packed. There was definitely people around, but it wasn't real busy, so it was enough to keep me alert and, you know, have some stuff to look at and keep me occupied. Out to St Heliers, back along towards Mission Bay. I didn't feel that good in my stomach. It was, I don't know, the random combinations of food that I ate, and then it being completely unnatural doing something like that. I stopped and had a quick spew, which is kind of random, but better out than in, I say, and after that I felt a whole heap better. Pressed on back to the city. I went up Simon Street instead of Cycleway because the Simon Street's a whole lot more gradual, and at this stage my legs were fried. Then towards Great North Road, around Rosebank once, so Rosebank loop, nice and flat. Then back home, close to home, had 10 to go, went out and did my normal 10k running loop, but on the bike to finish it off. Then back to the house, one more little loop just to get it above 500. And yeah, if you've seen the previous video, you'll know that I made it. And I am extremely happy that I made it. It was very, very tough. Would I do it again? I'll never say never, but very unlikely that I'll do it anytime soon. I certainly won't do it solo again. Maybe if it was a group thing or point A to point B, then perhaps. Recovery, I'm recovering really well. This is day 2. I went out for a ride today, 54k. For sure there's parts of my body that are still sore, but I can actually stand up by myself without using my arms and sit down without using my arms, so that's cool. Because I live in New Zealand and because I did it on the 24th, I was leading the Festive 500 for a little while. I thought that's kind of cool. And also one of my friends tagged me on one of the Insta pages that someone had posted my photo and said, look, the first one's already been completed, so that was also kind of cool. And yeah, it's a day I'll never forget. Why did I do it? I had a couple of reasons. I said a while ago that I wanted to do a 24-hour ride and didn't do it, so I thought, hey, this year, let's do it. And I said at the start of the year that I was going to do it. It was 23 hours and 49 minutes. Not quite 24 hours, sure. But could I have ridden 10 more minutes to get to 24 hours? Yes. But at that stage I was at 500 and I thought, that's plenty, I'm very happy with that. So I stopped and I'm cool with it, I'm totally cool with it. Just like the Everesting, I'm glad that I've done it. I'm so stoked that I could finish it, but no plans to do it again anytime soon. Do you have any questions or do you have any comments? Please post them down below. Yeah, if you want to know anything, any of the extra details while it's all fresh in my mind, then please do ask.